I call Sir William Sewell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I feel sorry for the member that just spoke because he's advocating quite strongly to change the southern boundaries, but the national government, his government, isn't listening to him. Yeah, so I really feel sorry for him. There is no dispute, Mr. Chair, that Labour supports the reformation of the Auckland governance structure. We've been upfront with that, stated that right from the beginning. But what we're saying to this government, and I hope they are listening, is that the process has been flawed. It's been a sham in many respects because they keep announcing positions before the Select Committee had even completed its work. And the structure that they've set up is undemocratic. It's a flawed governance structure for the biggest region there is of our nation. Now, it wouldn't be so bad if they were just tinkering around the edges of local government, but this is significant change. They are going to change the landscape, the shape and face of local government, and then I suspect they will roll it out. Now, the Honourable John Carter made reference to the assets of local government and made reference to the local LTCCB, local council long-term plan. And he said that each council, the council would determine whether they sell those assets or not. And that may be so. But every one of those assets are now currently being held in each of the local governments, in Manukau, in North Shore, in Waitakere, in Franklin, Papakura, in Rodney. And they are held by a group of councillors representing their particular region there. And so in each of those regions, will have a certain philosophy that they are basing their decisions on. And for example, in Manukau, 18 councillors representing 8 wards, we have always traditionally had a philosophy of holding on to our assets. And that's the reason why we currently now have 10% of shareholdings in that particular airport. And from those shares, we've been able to fund our free swimming pools and support the development of activities for our young people, our libraries, our sports field. Now that's at risk because what will now happen is all of those assets, not just from Manukau, but including Papakura, who asked the Select Committee that they want to save Papakura, all of those local governments have been snuffed out by the first bill that was run through in urgency, and they're lumping all of those assets now under one structure with not only, here's the other thing, they're getting rid of all the mayor and the councillors and the community boards that currently exist and giving full power, authority and privileges to only 20 councillors. 20 councillors supposedly to represent the 1.4 million people of the Auckland region. That's undemocratic. Now, I strongly feel, and the public holds this view, that this is a setup by this government to make it easier to get rid of the public assets. $28 billion worth. Now, in the members of the Select Committee who sat in Manukau and throughout would have heard the strong voice of Manukau who argued strongly that they do not want to sell the airport shares.
That's right.
Because those airport shares were funded by ratepayers. The numerous land tracts that exist in Manukau, funded and maintained by ratepayers in Manukau. We've borrowed money, we've paid off those loans, and what's going to happen to that? That's the fear. There is fear in it, and the current structure that has been put up by the government does not propose to protect those assets whatsoever. That is the fear that exists out in the community. Now, nothing is put in by the government structure has any protection whatsoever. So the result of this structure that we oppose is an unbalanced model which, Mr. Chair,
I call Carol Beaumont.